It really all started at Daytona whenever Bill signed the Who's Retired deal, and, I didn't know anything about it. And it just got us, we had 2 good runs at the beginning of the year, but we just went downhill from there.
But as Robert's Busch career began to falter, right next door in the Winston Cup garage, he was building his confidence and honing his talent to make a run at the '95 Winston Cup Rookie of the Year crown in the Chevys of Leo Jackson.
I passed up probably 8 or 10 good Winston Cup rides, just to wait on this 33 car. My brother's crew chief there, Leo Jackson, he's just like a father to me. I mean, they don't get any better than them, and Skoal's the greatest sponsor out there, the way they take care of their drivers and the team and everything. This is what Robert wanted, and it was worth waiting on.
But even after all the success in the Busch Series, Robert now realizes that he has to rely on other drivers for advice.
Hello everyone, welcome to Inside Winston Cup Racing. Today we're in Charlotte, North Carolina at Cale Yarborough Motorsports. This is where they build and maintain the Fords that Derek Cope drives in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. This team has a brand new sponsor, brand new colors for 1994. Fingerhut Catalogs will be their sponsor for the next 3 years. Well, we'll cover that and much more in this half hour of Inside Winston Cup Racing.
The season finale in Atlanta saw the crowning of a new champion, a much-needed win, and a lot of bent sheet metal in the garage area. We'll recap the events that shaped NASCAR's final Winston Cup weekend.
And you'll meet Busch Series driver Joe Bessie. This Rookie of the Year contender has not only become competitive on the racetrack, but is driven in the world of business as well. We'll profile Joe behind the desk and behind the wheel.
In 1994, drivers, sponsors, crew chiefs, and manufacturers will all shake up the sport of Winston Cup racing. You'll get a preview of some of the moves being made for next year.
Inside Winston Cup Racing is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. Goodyear,
the
number
Indians
one in
are
tires.
going for a win in their 3rd consecutive
and
game.
by Haviland Formula 3 Motor
Hi
Oil.
again, everybody. I'm
Add
Dwayne
more life
Kuiper with
to
Mike
your car.
Kruko. And again, it looks like a great evening for a ball game.
The Hooters
But it really
500
does,
at the Atlanta
Kuiper. I'm
Motor
anxious to
Speedway
get this
last
one
weekend
started.
wrapped up the 1993
And now,
NASCAR
here's
Winston
tonight's
Cup
starting
season.
pitcher,
Of course, the
Gary
championship
Glover.
was decided there in Dale Earnhardt's favor, and
This
there was some
evening's
controversy
game
as far as the track
features the
conditions
Boston
were
Red
concerned
Sox
because there were a
and the
lot of
Cleveland
wrecks,
Indians.
and there was some shuffling as far as point standings
Here's
were
the game's
concerned among
first
the top
batter,
10.
Johnny
Let's take a
Damon.
look back at some of the things that
This
went on
lefty He's
at
really
Atlanta.
got a knack for hitting right-handed
This
pitchers.
segment of Inside Winston Cup Racing brought to you by Texaco Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
Prior to the final Busch Grand National and Winston Cup races of 1992, several teams went to Atlanta to test, including championship contenders Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt. What they learned for the finale in Atlanta was that the track was treacherously slick. When the teams officially hit the track race weekend, it was confirmed that a sealer that was used to fill cracks in the racing surface, combined with aerodynamic rule changes to the cars, would make for a challenging weekend. There was wreck after wreck after wreck in both practice and qualifying in the Busch Grand National and Winston Cup division. Included in that was championship contender Dale Earnhardt. The excitement continued in the slick 5300 Busch Grand National race, with Ward Burton bagging his third win of the year in his last race as a Busch Grand National regular.
My hardest team, we've been down, they've never given up, and that's what makes the thing work. You know, the team works as a unit when we're doing good and we're doing bad, and that's the first team I've had like that.
On Sunday, all eyes were on Rusty and Dale, with the title on the line. But there were other less notable stories that pertain to the Winston Cup points race. Kyle Petty clipped the wings of T-Bird driver Morgan Shepherd in his final race to finish 5th in the point standing. Morgan moved to 7th behind Ernie Irvin. Ricky Rudd hung on to 10th behind Bill Elliott and Kenny Schrader. The final money spot in the points went to Ted Musgrave, who finished 25th. Rusty Wallace did everything he could do to capture his second Winston Cup title, winning his 31st race of his career. But Dale Earnhardt was the big winner, gathering his 6th Winston Cup title worth $1.2 million.
This team has just been so tremendous all year. I know we didn't win the races that Rusty won, but still they was consistent and worked hard. We had some adversity with things happen to us, and also the loss of our champion, Alan Quick, and the great friend, Davey Allison. So, you know, it was some sad notes and some tough times this year, but we came through it and worked hard, and this team is just super.
You were celebrating with Andy Petrie a moment ago. His addition to your team, obviously a big factor.
Well, a part of his interview was he wanted to be a champion, and he felt like this race team could take him there, and he helped us get there, and it's been great for us.
You know, it's just sad when two teams that good end up with one champion. But, you know, we had a little different strategy, and it worked for us. And, you know, that's what winning the Winston Cup Championship's all about.
Dale Earnhardt, Richard Childress, and the Goodwrench team will start defense of their title with the running of the Daytona 500 next February. They'll try to see if they can catch Richard Petty, who has 7 NASCAR Winston Cup titles. You know, race fans spend a lot of time on the road, traveling back and forth to their favorite tracks and events, and the last thing they need to have is car trouble on the road to run an exciting weekend. Well, now NASCAR has stepped in to help with the NASCAR Advantage Road Service Plan. This annual membership plan includes emergency road service such as towing, jump starts, tire changes, fluids, and minor repairs, lockout service, spouse coverage at no extra charge, a 24-hour toll-free customer service number, theft and hit-and-run rewards, customized trip routing, hotel and rental car discounts, and much more for only $54.95 per year. RV programs also available. Who better to bring you a complete national road service plan than NASCAR, the road service experts? Well, it's time for us to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk with Joe Bessie, driver in the NASCAR Busch Series. As we leave you for this break, here's how you can get more information on the NASCAR Advantage.
To order the NASCAR Advantage Road Service Plan, call 1-800-633-4600 or write to NASCAR Advantage Road Service Plan, Post Office Box 5100, Thousand Oaks, California, 91359.
Joe Bessie had a very successful career in the NASCAR Busch North Series. In 1993, he decided he would come south and run in the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series, and he was one of the top contenders in the Penrose Rookie of the Year Challenge. He had some awfully good runs, especially towards the end of the year. Joe runs his own team, and he also runs his own business. Recently, Bill Weber made a trip to Maine to talk with Joe Bessie.
Joe Bessie is all business.
no matter what day of the week it is. He owns his Busch Series team, and it's fitting that he drives the rig as well as the car, because back home in Scarborough, Maine, Bessie's business is trucking. Each week he flies home to check on the company he founded 11 years ago at the age of 21. Now, with 25 trucks running the Northeast Corridor, he's trying to balance his company and his blossoming career.
And you'll be disappointed by this guy. Back up the middle. He's out first with a base hit.
What time is it? 1:30. Time for me to get a watch.
Joe's racing career was born at Beach Ridge Motor Speedway in Scarborough as a junior in high school. That was 1977. Now, 16 years later, he's just wrapped up his rookie season in the Busch Series.
It went about the same as my first full-time season here on this dirt at Beach Ridge Motor Speedway. It's like anything new. Just was tough. I don't know. It feels you just got to roll with the punches. We've been knocked out 2 or 3 times and just get back up and go at it for some more.
At home in Maine, Joe's Busch Grand National North experience was a license for winning. 1992 brought 3 victories and 11 top 10 finishes. But down south, 93 was a different story.
We missed the championship by 6 points last year, and I felt like we could have won it. Could have went either way. It's been tough down there. The schedule's so hectic. You don't have a lot of time to make friends. You don't have a lot of time to spend with the other competitors. They show up to the track and everybody's so focused with the major sponsors being involved. It's a pressurized situation. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. You're there to race, not to socialize. And it's just been tough making friends. We've gotten you. Really.
Joe Bessie is easy to like, but hard to get to know. Behind the desk and behind the wheel, he is friendly, but focused, and approached with as slow as acceptance in racing's social circles.
Yeah, I haven't. I still haven't cracked it. The better we get, it seems the more they start to accept me. I've made it a point to race everybody as clean as possible this year. The last thing I want to do is become earmarked as a driver that you don't want to race with. Stay clear of him. He's not in control of the car. It's no secret. We've been lapped many times this year by the best of them. I do my best to get out of the way and let the races go on.
This Maine native anticipated a frosty reception from the close-knit racing fraternity in the South, a relationship he hopes will warm up over time. However, after finishing second in points in the Busch North Series last year, what he hadn't fully anticipated is the wild roller coaster ride he's had to endure during 1993.
Roller coaster, peaks and valleys, to say the least.
But you're ready to come back and do it again?
Yeah, that would kill me, to not be able to come back in 94 and capitalize on the dues I've paid this year.
This righty would like to add a couple of points to his average.
I don't know for sure that nothing is in concrete that we will be back in 94, but I gotta believe, I have a gut feeling that something's gonna come about for Joe Bessie, and I'm gonna be able to capitalize on the dues I've paid this year.
Bessie is emotionally motivated by his fond memories of the late Alan Kowicki. His car number is a tribute to Kowicki, who ran the number 97 in the ASA Series. Bessie has modeled himself after the former champion, a man he'd never met.
He's just got that streak of independence in him that I've got. So close to him as far as being in the garage areas. And many times last year and many times early this year. And never made the effort to go meet the man, only because I knew he was so focused on what he was doing. Watching him take that championship actually brought tears to my eyes right there in the motel, and I felt like a fool, but it was just the way he just did it. It was a small, it wasn't even small, it was a miracle.
With the race season now complete, it's back to business for Joe Bessie. He won't be working weekends on the road this week, but come February, he'll be racking up the miles on and off the track.
I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully I don't let myself down.
If you saw the Slick 5300 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway last weekend, you know that Joe Bessie had one of the fastest, if not the fastest car on the racetrack. It's too bad that he wrecked with about 25 laps to go while challenging for the lead. We need to take a short break. When we come back, we'll preview the 1994 NASCAR Winston Cup season. So you stay with us.
Yeah, going to run 6 races. Country Time's going to help us with James Finch's Phoenix racing deal. So try to get those 6 ready going down to Daytona in February. I've been going down there the last few years to do some of this, and I want to see about driving again.
Put the fastball right where you want it for a called strike. Arroyo delivers out of the zone, and it's 1-2. That changeup out of the zone, the batter did not bite.
As long as I have been around NASCAR Winston Cup racing, I don't think I have ever seen as many changes as we'll see for 1994. Sponsors, drivers, crew chiefs, you name it, and it's changing. And it might even change before you see this on the air. Let's take a look at some of the things that we know about now.
As the Winston Cup Tour takes off for Daytona in 1994, there will be few teams left untouched by the change of season. Each year, drivers, crew chiefs, and corporate sponsors search for that certain situation that hopefully will help them ultimately celebrate a championship season. A look at who's who and what's what for 94, starting with the number 1 car. Rick Mast will continue as is, no changes, to continue to hunt for win number 1 next year. On the other hand, it's hard to believe Rusty Wallace, after winning 10 races in 1993, will switch from Pontiac to Ford in 1994. How about the Winston Cup champ? Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Morgan McClure has yet to announce a permanent driver to replace the departed Ernie Irvin for next year. As of right now, the focus is on Sterling Marlin, who will lead the Stavola brothers. The Tide Ride will have the same driver in 1994, but a new owner. Both are Ricky Rudd. Rudd, starting his own team, will field Fords and the number 10.
Well, we're really looking forward to it. We're enjoying all the time we've got because we're making good use of it, trying to get organized and get the cars up and built. And we've already had 2 test sessions, and the cars run extremely well in both test sessions. So going into the winter, having those behind us feels awful good.
A threat to win the championship every year since 1989, Mark Martin will be without longtime crew chief and confidant Steve Neal next year. Jeff Woodine is searching for a sponsor for his newly acquired race team. Chances are he'll have one before he hits Daytona.
We've had one all year. Family Channel's been with us, and that's really great, but they're not coming back with us next year. So we're still looking. Hopefully a couple weeks we'll be able to make a big announcement.
The inside track says Busch Grand National driver Jeff Burton will replace Sterling Marlin in the Stavola Brothers Ford, but what will replace Rebestis as a sponsor because they're out. Expect P.J. Jones to take another stab in the Harry Melling Ford number 9 next year. Everything should be the same with Elliott next season as well, except the win column, he hopes. Spencer and Sponsor are both leaving Bobby Allison in 1994. Spencer goes with Junior Johnson and McDonald. Terry Labonte goes with the Hendrick team along with Kellogg's next season. His number is now number 5. Bud Moore and Lake Speed will sport new colors in 1994 with Ford Quality Care on the car. The Family Channel has rising star Ted Musgrave in their lineup next season. Car owner Jack Roush unveiled the machine to rave reviews in Atlanta. Many teams won't be making any moves next season, like the Joe Gibbs team. Buddy Baker could be back with a limited schedule for Dick Moroso. No changes for Morgan Shepherd and the 21 car. Bobby Labonte and Bill Davis will switch to Pontiac next season. They may trade their Fords for Rusty's Pontiacs. The cars of Jeff Gordon, Kenny Schrader, Brett Bodine, Ernie Irvin, and Michael Waltrip will all remain relatively the same. How about Neil Bonnet, though? He'll be back in a limited schedule with Country Time.
Yeah, going to run 6 races. Country Time's going to help us with James Finch's Phoenix racing deal. So try to get those 6 ready going down to Daytona in February. I've been going down there the last few years to do some of this, and I want to see about driving again.
Harry Gant and the 33 team will stay the same for 1994, but Kenny Wallace is out of the 40 car owned by Felix Sabanas. A new driver is expected to be named soon. The number 41 team will have another driver behind the wheel next year. Could it be 1992 BGN champ Joe Nemechek? The only other major changes, the 44 car could become the 43 car for new driver Wally Dellenbach. And Jimmy Hensley finally gets a full-time ride with the number 55 team. And Derek Pope re-ups with Cale Yarborough and his team for next season. They also secured the biggest sponsor they've had since Yarborough retired from driving just a few short years ago.
And you folks think we announcers get to take the winter off? No, we got to do a lot of studying just to get ourselves acclimated to who's going to be doing what in 1994 so we can talk intelligently about it. Well, there'll be more changes coming up, and certainly by the time we go to New York for the awards banquet, there will be more, and we'll keep you posted. But right now, we need to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have the mailbox, so don't go away.
The winds of change will not only blow through the Winston Cup garage next season, they'll affect teams in the Busch Series as well. We'll talk to some of the drivers that'll be swapping seats in the Busch Series next season.
We'll also talk to Jimmy Spencer. For Spencer, 1993 was not only competitive, but controversial. Next year, he'll pilot Junior Johnson's McDonald's Ford. We'll hear from Jimmy next week.
Next season, we'll see the return of driver Elton Sawyer. He's got a new car racing for a new team with a new sponsor. We'll be back in the Busch Series in 1994.
The score is 3-2.
Today's mailbox is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft.
Our question today is from Don Mockris from Houston, Texas, who writes, why do Winston Cup cars use water in their radiators instead of a coolant? Well, Don, for the answer, we'll go to Doug Richard, who is the crew chief on the Hedrick Motorsports Chevrolet number 41.
That's a good question, Don. The reason I don't use it in our car here is a lot of the safety reasons, not only for ourselves, but the other competitors on the racetrack. Antifreezes and coolants like that carry some substances that are very slippery if they were ever extracted onto the racetrack. That could be very dangerous if it ever got under the wheels and tires of us or any other cars. Thanks for writing in, Don.
If you have any race questions, write to us at Inside Winston Cup Racing, box 240-417, Charlotte 28224. If we use your question on the air, you'll receive this embroidered Miller Genuine Draft jacket.
Well, our time's up for today. Hope you enjoyed the show, and our thanks to Cale Yarborough and all the folks here at the Finger Hut team for allowing us to come into their shops. We'll see you again here on TNN for more on Inside Winston Cup Racing. You be sure to join us.
Inside Winston Cup Racing has been brought to you by Cold Filter Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. Goodyear, #1 in tire. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Ground transportation for the Inside Winston Cup Racing crew provided by Mark III Luxury Vans and Trucks, the official vans and trucks of NASCAR. Footwear provided by Simpson Race Products, makers of the Ground Effects line of motorsports footwear. For order information and a new 1994 catalog, call weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 800-654-RACE. Communications for Inside Winston Cup Racing are provided by Racing Radio, the official communications of NASCAR and the Winston Cup Series. Call for information.
He swiped 2 bases. He takes the pitch to left. And he makes the catch. And he gives almost everything to get that ball.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Inside Winston Cup Racing. I'm in Concord, North Carolina at the new facilities of Ricky Craven Motorsports, headquarters of the DuPont Chevrolets, which Ricky drives in the NASCAR Busch Series. We'll be talking to Ricky a little bit later on in the program, and we'll have much more for you in this half hour of Inside Winston Cup Racing.
We'll see how one Busch Series team prepares for race day as our IWCR flashback takes us to Rougemont, North Carolina, and the day in the life of the Nescafe team and former series champion Chuck Bound.
Also coming up on today's show, a look at the Busch Grand National North Series. It's producing championship drivers and drawing new fans from the Northeast.
And we'll take you into the NASCAR garage area for an up-close look at inspection. It's the first and the last stop for every Winston Cup winner.
Today's show is brought to you by Super 8 Motels with over 1,000 locations nationwide. Life's great at Super 8. Texaco Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold.
There are many similarities to the NASCAR Busch Series and the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Of course, one big difference is the fact that the Winston Cup cars run V8 engines, these cars run the V6s. Another big difference is the fact that the Busch cars run on the tracks of less than half a mile on occasions. You might call them the bull rings. A while back, we followed one of the teams, the Hensley Racing team, car number 63, when Chuck Bowen was driving for them, to a race at Rougemont, North Carolina, and that is the subject of this week's IWCR Flashback.
This segment of IWCR is brought to you by Texaco Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
And has worked it into a hitter's count, 2-0.
This has been a very hectic week. We've had 2 weeks off, but all that meant was we had 3 extra days a week in the shop. So, but we tested this car Thursday at Pulaski, and we're working on a lot of things to help help our consistency. And we come back in the shop Friday morning and completely stripped the car down to nothing. Just that we had to go back to our regular routine because we ran probably 500 laps up there Thursday, so it was like a race. And so we've had to completely redo that. We had the motor out and back in, and Friday was a full day. Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with. I mean, it starts when you load up here to go to the racetrack, and when you get here, you got to go through inspection and just make sure all your P's and Q's are, your I's are dotted and your T's crossed, I guess. But it's a lot more than people realize. It's different. It's a lot of teams, a lot of people that don't know the Busch Grand National Series or are not familiar with it that much think that we're kind of like Winston Cup. But there's a lot of variance. We get here and we got to get the job done and get it done quick. But I like it. I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
That's a great play on a very tough line drive. That's one of the toughest balls in baseball to judge. Going into the bottom of the 5th, this contest is tied. Next at the plate, South
Georgia. It's been pretty hectic at the shop because we haven't been at the track, and we're a pretty competitive team and like to be racing. This is our job, and this is what we want to do. And so this morning it was a little different. I didn't sleep any last night because I wanted to be here and race.
It's nonstop preparing these race cars. We used to say the only time you don't work on them is when you're racing. It's just the commitment it takes on their behalf is tremendous. And that's what separates the winners from the losers. Is who gets in there and digs the hardest, works the hardest, comes up with a trick this or that gets them through for a few weeks to win a few races. It's just non-stop battle to try to get an edge.
Nice job by the shortstop.
Basically, we work on a race setup the whole time during practice, and usually it really doesn't affect when you qualify because a lot of the other teams do the same thing. They all realize that you've only got 2 hours of practice, so why waste your 2 hours on a qualifying setup when you don't get to practice after qualifying? Never hurts to stay.
He's on his way to second. Stand-up double.
Yeah, 9-16. We got the radios in.
This guy here is a
we're good to go.
frequent success against right-handed pitching. He's laid out. He's got it. What a great diving catch.
Unofficially by our clock, we're the quickest right now, but now, I don't know.
With 4 innings remaining, the game's tied at 3.
The quickest so far has been like a 40.
Up next, David Ortiz.
It all pays off with a starting position like this.
Well, I think so. I think it's quite important. On a little track like this, the pace up front sometimes is so fast, you can get lapped real quick. And if you're just a little bit off and back in the pack and can't get up through the traffic, so it's a benefit. Also, if there is a big pile up in the early laps, usually it's behind the first couple of rows anyway, so I find it a big plus to start at the front. We work hard to qualify good, but not as hard as we work at the race. That's what we really want to do is win the race.
Chuck ran with the leaders through the early portion of the race before dropping the cylinder and battling an electrical problem. A Pontiac finished sixth.
The car was really consistent all night long, and that's what we were after. I don't know whether we could have beat Ward or not because he was really strong, but I know we probably had a good shot at finishing second. But
all in all, I guess, you know, it was a good run. We accomplished what we wanted to, and that was to, you know, to be consistent, and we were. I just wish we could have finished a little better.
Well, Ricky, when you were running the Busch North Series before you came south, you ran a lot of tracks like the Rougemont, North Carolina track.
Yeah, well, I'm thankful too. You know, you learn the essence of racing at those places, and I miss it. I miss the people back there, and so many of those drivers that belong down here with me. If they get the break and they're determined enough, they'll be here with us.
Well, it looks like it is a good stepping stone for young drivers, and we'll take a look at some of those drivers when we come back. So you stay with us right here on TNN.
The competition is tremendous this year. I think it's as stiff as it is on the Busch South. We have a little bit more affordable tour. The basic tires are the same amount of money, but we have a tire rule, and our tires are only $500 for a set, and they'll go the whole race, so that saves you a lot of money. It just makes it more affordable for the guy that wants to get introduced to the Busch cars.
Picking you up, they turn a sweet double play right. After 5.5, the game's tied at 3. 3, 4, and 5 minutes will be coming up for Steve. Gets it out to center. Damon should have no problem. Puts it away for the out. Up next with a homer already.
Sometimes there might be confusion on the Busch North Series and the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series, but they are two distinctive different divisions, and Ricky, both of them are very competitive.
Very competitive. You know, this series this year for me has been very, very tough for my new team. But it's no more difficult than what it was in 1990-91 when I raced in the Busch Grand National North Series. This year for them, they've had several new winners, a lot of rookie winners. And while Inside Winston Cup was in New Hampshire, they talked to a lot of the drivers.
To stock car fans across the country, the Busch North Garage is a forest of unfamiliar faces. But to these men, the series is a championship challenge. And to race fans, the northern extension of NASCAR satisfies our lingering thirst for the thrills of stock car racing. The Busch North Series runs 17 standalone events and 4 companion races with the regulars from the South.
We got a good series here. It's going to be sedan with a ton of competition. A lot of professional racers come out of here. You know, a lot of these guys race up here and decide to make a career of it. You know, Ricky Craven's gone down south, Joe Bessie comes down. We've got a few people come out of here. Done pretty good. I think we've got a good group of racers. We've got, I think, 70 cars in the pit. This series is growing by leaps and bounds. I just can't believe the interest. A lot of it has to do with this racetrack. New Hampshire International Speedway is just got everybody up here excited, and as soon as we got the Winston Cup race, you know, the people are just coming out of the woodwork to get involved in this series, and I think it just spells good things for the future of not only our series, but racing in general in the Northeast.
While some of the cars and even some of the names are similar to those we see every week, the Busch North Series runs a shorter schedule on smaller tracks with a tighter control on cost. Tires are $500 a set, and can, and often must, go the distance. Gear rules have been implemented to reduce the strain on motors and wallets. But there is no restriction on the close competition that drivers deliver during the summer, in a series that has nowhere to go but up.
You know, it's the highest you can get in the North. I think the next step's the Busch South, probably. I think this gives you an opportunity to work with the cars, and what you have to learn is when you move south is the radial tires. So I think it's, you know, I think you're better off to go Busch South before you jump right into Winston Cup. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy right where I am, and I just hope to finish my career out in the slow racing cars.
The Busch North Series is a blur of relatively unknown names on the cars and in them, facing off in a fertile field full of veteran racers and promising rookies. 1994 has produced 8 first-time winners and 11 different winners in 15 standalone events.
How about the name recognition factor? Everybody recognizes the name. Can they put it with the right face?
Not yet, I don't think. In fact, you guys have a TNN thing going with the Kenny Walls. Probably have the 04 car, and they really messed some people up. But, you know, the more we're around, the more people recognize us. You know, we're starting to get some of our own following. So, you know, I can't say enough about the other Kenny Wallace. He's been a great help when we went down south, and Mike Wallace and everybody. So we're happy to be here, and we're doing a good job.
The season is dominated by short track racing, but for many drivers, enthusiasm boils over when the series stops at the New Hampshire International Speedway.
Most of the time, though, was it Saturday night short track for you guys?
Yeah, basically. We run a lot of quarter miles. We run third of a mile. Half a mile is a big track for us. So when we come here and go to Watkins Glen, it's really great for us to get a lot of speed. And some of the guys don't like it as well. We have a lot of real good short track races on this series. And, but I myself, I like the speed better. So I'm real happy to come here. This is my favorite place to run.
The Busch North Series has built a strong enough foundation to earn some national television coverage, which has helped generate interest from a variety of intriguing sponsors, large and small. The financial backing and promoter support are two of the keys to the continuing success of the series.
The national sponsors are starting to look at this series as a marketing tool for them. So it's really helping us out a lot, and Bob Baer and Gary Baer with the New Hampshire International. That's helped this series out tremendously up here. It really opened up a lot of eyes, and I want to thank them.
Oh, TGI5, you can't beat them. Try their food and their drinks. I mean, they do a heck of a business, and we can't say enough about them. They give us, talk about credibility, they gave us the credibility when we needed it. They came in as a rookie, they took on a real rookie NASCAR racing, so they've been great for us, and I wish I could give them more back.
The Busch North Series has a talented cast of characters. Many contend to continue competing there, including 61-year-old Stub Faddy, a two-time winner on the circuit this season, while for others, a little northern exposure could send them due south.
Our goal was to run for the Rookie Challenge and to maybe finish as high as 10th in points, and we accomplished both. We finished 10th in points and won the Penrose Rookie of the Year Challenge, so we accomplished both goals. And this year, I guess our goal is to win the championship in the Busch International North.
And down the road?
And down the road, I guess eventually I would like to be in the Busch International Division down in the South. That's my major goal, and if things go the way they have and that happens, then maybe someday Winston Cup. That's everybody's goal, I guess you could say.
So much of what the Busch International North drivers do, Ned, is the short track stuff, half mile and smaller. When the Baer family decided to build the New Hampshire National Speedway, they did a big favor, not only to Ricky Craven, but the other competitors. Gives them that little feel for the super speedway, the extra speed, and if they choose to come here, it helps them get ready.
And they'll be running at the New Hampshire International Speedway next weekend. We need to take a short break. Still to come, we'll have the mailbox. We'll also take a look at the inspection procedure in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. So you stay with us. The IWCR mailbox is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft. Our question is from Martin Jaquek from Staten Island, New York. How does the spotter get to tell his driver where and when an accident occurs when a driver is talking to his crew? Is there a device that overrides the other radios?
I'm Dale Cagle. I work for Red Sox Motorsports. I'm Ricky Rudd's spotter on race day. There's not really a device that overrides anyone's conversation during our, the crew chief and the driver and the spotter are the main ones that talk on the radio. And there's not really a device that overrides one or the other. So what you say needs to be concise and to the point, and go on to your conversation and end your conversation as soon as you can, so that the next person, if they need to talk to them, they can. Many times the crew chief may be talking to the driver, and if something happens on the racetrack and the spotter needs to speak with him, and just as soon as that conversation ends, I say what I have to say as soon as I can.
Have you noticed the brake rotors? Negative.
Breaking in the righty right here is a good move.
I think it is pretty good.
Trouble picking up his braking pitches.
You got a scrub up here, 1 and 2, up high.
If you have a question, send us a letter at IWCR or at Box 240-417, Charlotte, North Carolina. The zip is 28224. Now, if we use your question on the air, you'll receive this embroidered Miller Genuine Draft jacket.
After a short break, we'll take a look at the inspection procedure in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. And as we leave you for this break, here's a look at what's coming up right here on IWCR next week.
Next Sunday, the Winston Cup Series visits Martinsville, Virginia. We'll have the pre- and post-race reports from the Goodies 500.
And you'll go behind the scenes at Winston Cup Illustrated, a magazine that uses quotes and color to deliver fans a monthly review of NASCAR's racing action.
The official conversion van of Inside Winston Cup Racing is Gladiator from Lavelle, America's #1 luxury van. Lavelle, the way we put it together, sets us apart.
He swung 7 bases.
As long as NASCAR has been in existence, there has been a technical inspection program. When I drove race cars, they only had a couple of people that looked the cars over. Now they have a staff of people that looks the cars over from one end to the other, looking for safety features as well as legality. Last weekend at Richmond, Virginia, our crew followed the Kendall Oil Pontiac, which is driven by Bobby Hamilton, through the inspection program to show you what goes on.
The inspection process at a Winston Cup race is designed to deliver fairness in the area of competition and to uphold a standard of safety for the drivers. And to ensure that every race car that rolls onto the starting grid abides by all the rules implied by NASCAR, inspection is an ongoing process all weekend long at each and every race.
You have to take the car through at least 3 times. What happens is, Randy, we actually, the car goes through inspection once at the shop. Then once we get here, it goes through 3 NASCAR mandatory inspections, which is the initial inspection on the unloaded cars, make sure everything's okay to even be on the racetrack and meeting their regulations. Then we have to go back through inspections for a minor, what they call a height and weight check prior to qualifying, as well as you do the same inspection once again prior to the race. So those are 3 that are mandatory.
Besides the mandatory inspections performed by NASCAR, each team will most likely roll their cars through tests to check ride height and the weight distribution of their cars, because sometimes changing of springs and shocks can throw a car slightly out of line with the rule book. 10 or 15 years ago, the inspection process consisted of an overall template and the weighing of a car. Nowadays, it's much more complex.
Today, we're worried about right side percentages and have to weigh 45 on the right, which is 1,600 pounds, and a total weight of 3,500 pounds. So, we've gone through a total template configuration where we have a template that fits the doors, the nose, the fenders, the hoods, the overall, the roof, the deck lids, the rear quarter panels. I mean, they check everything.
Wow, it's unbelievable. I mean, I guess tread width, they want to make sure your rear end's right, camber, all that stuff, and then you go to the hood of the car, and under the hood, they do things there as well.
Yeah, we also get into a situation where they check the carburetors. They have a specific inspector who does nothing but check carburetors and manifolds. They P&G the motors to make sure the cubic inches are right. I mean, everything out there is done specifically to make sure that the competition is held fairly between the competitors. I mean, nobody's getting an unfair advantage. I mean, today, even with the tires, we have a regulation that you have to go through of picking your tires up. You're allowed 3 sets of tires, and these 3 sets are documented and put into a booklet, you might say, during the week that you're at this particular racetrack, and they make sure that the serial numbers match what's on the car. And they know when you use up your 3 sets of tires before, the qualifying is over. And, so it has gotten to be to where the inspection process and the rules and regulations all the competitors operate under are very stringent.
The safety aspect of tech inspection is equally as important to NASCAR. And not that it wasn't 15 years ago, but even that was nothing like it is today.
I ran a car one time that the whole roll cage, except for the main loop on the left side, was exhaust tubing, and we had it full of fuel. So, and we had a fuel tank at our feet. They were disguised as an oil tank. Well, those things were bombs, In fact, this particular racetrack area one time was the biggest fire we ever in. It burned up 5 or 6 cars, and it just was an explosion with everybody piled together, and so those things have gone away. So they've done a pretty good job of that.
In fact, this past weekend, the Cebola Brothers Ford was found to have an illegal roof cage, and in the interest of safety, the car was disqualified, and the team was fined $10,000.
But you have to always be very conscious of the safety of the driver. We put a lot of effort into making sure that leg restraints are as light as possible, but still work. The seat is mounted in the car as rigid as possible, but still as light as possible. The seat belts are properly installed through the roll bars and bolted with 3/8 bolts, so that the driver, himself is held in the car. The fire extinguishers, all the padding, everything like that revolves around the driver. You don't need to lose sight of, because without your driver, you've lost your whole season. You get frustrated when they dust you on something every now and then, but when you sit back and look, everything they do, I mean, they've got you at their heart, and that's what makes you feel good. That's what makes Winston Cup racing as good as it is. I feel more comfortable in a Winston Cup car of this Grand National car than any car I've ever been in.
Why did we go through all of that? In the interest of safety and fairness of competition. Well, our time's up for today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Our thanks to Ricky Craven and all the folks here at the DuPont shop for allowing us to come in here. You be sure to join us again here on TNN for more on the Inside Winston Cup.
EA Sports, it's in the game. Right now, it's time for the superstars to start earning their paychecks, Kite. He takes the pitch to left. Base hit to lead off the inning. Got a good pitch to hit right there, and he put it in the outfield for a single. They need to get a run right here. To do so, they might want to give up an out.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Winston Cup Racing. I'm at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. A little bit quiet out here right now, but it won't be quite a weekend from now as the NASCAR Winston Cup and Busch Series drivers move in here for the Mellow Yellow 500 and the All-Pro Auto Parts 300. Well, it wasn't quite all of this week either. Many of the NASCAR Winston Cup drivers and teams took advantage of a couple of days to come out here and do some intensive testing as they were checking out the new rules that will go into effect as far as body heights and spoilers are concerned. We'll cover that and much more in this half hour of Inside Winston Cup Racing.
We'll rev things up with the second annual NASCAR Winston Cup Harley-Davidson ride. We'll take you along as several of the NASCAR drivers, mechanics, and car owners suit up and head out for the 40-mile ride to Martinsville.
Coming up on Inside Winston Cup Racing, a visit with Slim Jim Chevrolet driver David Green on the road in San Francisco. Not a pleasure trip, but a business trip. It's part of the business of racing.
Also, we'll take you to the Charlotte Motor Speedway where NASCAR teams are testing out some new rules designed to slow down the cars and increase competition. We'll have the story.
Inside Winston Cup Racing is brought to you by Gold Filter Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
Now, if you're a fan of Inside Winston Cup Racing, and certainly we hope that you are, you know that this program is about stock car racing. Well, today we have a story of a little different sort. It's about motorcycles. But it does involve the people who are involved in NASCAR Winston Cup Racing. Now, they don't get much time to spend with their hobbies, and many of them have a hobby of riding motorcycles. And they had their annual 1993 Harley ride to Martinsville, Virginia recently, and we went along.
This segment of Inside Winston Cup Racing brought to you by Texaco Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
It was 6 a.m. at General Aviation in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The starting point for the second annual NASCAR Winston Cup Harley ride. Through the misty darkness came bite after bite. People from all walks of NASCAR, many famous for the sport they play, suddenly unrecognizable except for their individual hogs. It was early morning coffee, conversation, and not about stock car racing.
He's hitting 220 with 2 home runs and 10 runs batted in.
Really, what color is that race?
Oh, yeah. They're down to their
And the racers, well, they kept coming through the early morning light.
Well, like bright. 7 in the morning. That ain't no morning light. Who you riding with? I'm not. I got a bad back.
Sometimes you try to make a hit
was the final count as they assembled for the 46-mile trip. It was racers in hog heaven. Some came from far away, some didn't. You didn't drive all the way. Where'd you come from?
Takes and the count goes to 3-1.
Yeah,
Nothing for you.
got out of here right here. Yeah, well, I had to drive up here.
3-2.
Yeah, that's a long ride, you know, in the middle of the afternoon.
The runner at first is going.
Oh, yeah. Since about
and the game is over.
I used to, when I first started racing, I raced bikes. Back when I was skinny enough that I could stay on the thing.
The Indians have won 3 games in a row.
Then I went a long time without.
Wickman
there's
picks
some,
up the win.
Yeah, I don't know about
Arroyo is saddled with the loss.
But
the Cleveland Indians win it by 1.
And like I said a while ago, I just can't believe somebody pay this much money to get up this time in the morning right around the ring.
The rain, well, it didn't seem to put a damper on the riders' enthusiasm.
You just can't beat riding a Harley. You know, it's got its own feel and sound, you know. It's just the sound. One thing sounds better than a Harley, and that's 2 of them.
When 7 o'clock came around, it was time to suit up, take off.
Complete with a police escort, the second annual Winston Cup Harley ride was finally underway. They cruised through the countryside in unison, sleek bikes rumbling through the rain. And in just over an hour, they had made the trip to Martinsville. Through the gates and onto the racetrack, these proud owners of the monster machines majestically made their way around the half-mile track with a little mud on their boots and a smile in their eye.
Super ride. Enjoyed it.
And you came all the way from like Arizona,
Phoenix.
right?
I flew in Phoenix. It was 101 in Phoenix yesterday. I come down here, beautiful rain, nice humidity. No, it was a beautiful ride. I got in the middle of the pack and didn't try to do nothing fancy and enjoyed the ride tremendously.
We knew the weather was threatening, but it's second year in a row we're running rain, but it hadn't dampened anybody's spirit. I think
Harley riders are tough.
Harley riders are tough.
Several years ago, Harry Gant, Tim Richmond, and Dick Brooks all rode their motorcycles to Martinsville. And it seemed like Martinsville would be the place to come. But when they rode up here, it didn't rain. If we got to change racetracks or something, because it seemed like every year we come up here, it's the same rain. It don't change.
Representatives from all area Harley dealers as well, right?
Yeah, we got representatives from Asheville, Statesville, Charlotte, Winston-Salem, and also Greensboro. We even got representatives here from the Harley factory in Milwaukee and also the Talladega test facility. And about all the drivers and crew members have Harleys have joined us today, and we're glad to have them to look forward to doing our third annual Harley ride next year.
Whatever the route, whatever the racetrack, next year there'll be more bikes and certainly more fun, rain or shine.
Well, it's too bad the weatherman didn't cooperate, and certainly too bad that they didn't have a day like we have today. Right now, we need to take a short break. There's still lots to come on Inside Winston Cup Racing, so you stay with us.
So, David, how's this going for you? Good. It's just like any other food show, except here I got to wear this uniform, which is fine, you know, that promotes the sponsor and all that, but it's really neat. You know, I still can't believe we're in San Francisco, and this is the #1 convention for convenience stores, and what a booth Slim Jim has here, you know, and sharing it with Macho Man Randy Savage, you know, is an honor in itself, so it's really neat.
David Green, who drives the Bobby Labonte Slim Jim Chevrolets in the NASCAR Busch Series, is in the thick of the battle for the 1993 Busch Championship. Our story on him today does not focus necessarily on his accomplishments on the racetrack, but on the business end of the sport. Recently, he made a trip to San Francisco to do some work for his sponsor, and Bill Weber went along with him.
David Green's busiest days are spent competing against his racing rivals and challenging for the Busch Series Championship. But some of his most important days are spent miles away from the track.